I, Michael Stephen Myles, do swear that I will truly serve His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, and the people of the Cayman Islands, in the office of Member of Parliament, so help me God.
I think for me, what have kept me going over a course of time is my mother. She's my hero. I was raised in a single parent home. I'm sure that a lot of people know that because I've talked about that throughout certainly my campaign and throughout my life. It has kept me grounded. She set a foundation. I grew up in central Georgetown. It's been, for me, it's been an inspiring, I would say, story of mine that a little kid from central Georgetown who struggled to quite oftentimes read can become a minister of the Cayman Islands. I tell people all the time, very few places on this earth will my story actually become this livable, breathable moment. And yet here I am. I think that my mother set the foundation for me. For that, it's kept me humble. I'm a worker. I'm blue collar, and I work like a blue collar worker, and that's what I bring to the ministry. I am not just someone that's going to pass legislation or pass policy. I want to see it happen from the ground level. I tell people all the time, I'm a trenches individual. I like to work in the trenches because I want to see it built, and if it's not working, I want to be able to change it. It's been one of the biggest things that I believe that has happened is that our coalition came together quickly, and we recognized that we all had synergies from the campaign. So we wanted to make sure that we acted swiftly on those synergies, and a major part of that was immigration reform. So as we got in, we decided that our responsibility was to partner with the public sector or the civil service and move this agenda forward. So the reform for immigration had to be done almost immediately. Prior to actually moving those reforms forward, we also met with the civil service because a major step in those reforms were bringing the civil service up to the same standard as the private sector. So the civil service has also been a major accomplishment as well, because for the first time in our history, the civil service have term limits that will match the private sector. Every job in the Cayman Islands is for Caymanians. I think quite often people get this wrong that, Caymanians have a specific job. All jobs are owned by Caymanians. We allow people to come in and fill jobs that either Caymanians aren't qualified for or that Caymanians are simply not going to do. And we want to change that. So what I've been doing is looking at how do we make things like tourism and the TVEC sector jobs more appealing. I believe that we can do this by starting to look at how we teach our children what employment is. I don't talk about jobs to people. In my former life of running a training center, I want to talk about careers because all of us started from somewhere. Where do we go next? And I believe that's the golden answer to a lot of young people. They want to know what's next. So we need to show them that. I think education has to match where our economy is going. I think far too long, young people are working on curriculums that has nothing to do with the actual economy movement. The sort of employment that we are creating, education has to match that. So there's a couple of things that we are going to be doing. We're going to be rolling out a mechanism that all of our scholarship students are going to be working in or being recruited from. Currently, there's no such database that has anyone in it. So if an employer is looking for a plumber, they have no way to start. And if a plumber is looking for an employee or an employer, they don't know where to start either. What I'm trying to do is make sure that that's a balanced approach. We're bringing these two subsects together. So we're creating a national workforce database that all Caymanians are going to go in, but we're going to start with, students that are on TVET grants and students that are in scholarships. That's over 600 people. In addition to that, I also believe that students that are attending CIFEC, the Cayman Islands Further Education Center, has to be put in that. Maybe 10 to 15% of those students move on to tertiary education. What happens to the rest, right? We need to keep up with those students because we need to provide them training, internships, apprenticeships, and overall employment. So if we lose track of those students, what's happening is that those students are staying out of the workforce for so long that the gap of their employment is so wide. When they now want a job, they've been unemployed for 2 or 3 years, right? No one is hiring them. So we need to connect them to something. I want people to have a clear understanding that I'm an implementer, right? The goal for me isn't to sit down around a table and talk about this stuff. I think it's been talked about for a very long time. The goal for me on the Ministry of Caymanian Employment and Immigration is to implement what we've been talking about. So having a plan rolled out along with a mechanism that people can recruit from is really where we're going, and then connecting it to education. So as Minister Anglin and I partner, our goal is to say to the schools, okay, the number one job in our country right now is a carpenter, is a finished carpenter. We need to put that program in somewhere, right? We also have to make sure that we have our tourism market now returning to Caymanians. What we're not doing is painting the picture of levels of, I would say, we need to move away from jobs to careers. Every hotel in our country has anywhere between 15 to 30 different departments. They are all career paths.
Yes.
We have to paint that to the young people in our education system. I brought this morning. I wanted to, just show people what I carry around. These 4 pieces of documents has been with me for close to about 20 years. They haven't changed. They've become tattered. One of my favorite quotes is, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing, by Edmund Burke. I got this about almost 15 years ago. I collect quotes and I carry on, a number of Bible messages. I've taped it up and pasted it together many, many times. Sometimes when I feel that I can't go on, or I'm losing hope, or I'm uninspired, I pull these out and I read them, sometimes 50 times, because they move me. They keep me grounded. They keep me humble. They keep me moving and working hard. My daughters is also a major part of my inspiration. My lovely wife, Jackie, has been probably the backbone of everything that I have done. Very supportive, very loving. She's allowed me to follow my dream of serving. I also want people to know that I'm here to serve them, and not myself or any special interest groups. My sole goal is to help Caymanians move on, and with my mother, certainly my daughters and my wife, it has continued to humble me and keep me grounded and keep me working hard. But these are the things that that keeps me humming, and I'm honored. I'm always honored to serve, and certainly serve our people. I think it's the biggest part of my life. I've been serving my country since I was 10 years old, playing on the football field as an ambassador, and when I transitioned to getting a football scholarship and transitioning to college, it is, to me, one of the greatest honors in my life has been to serve, and I get to do that every single day.